He has just innate running skills that you really don't teach. We try to get him on the way to the point of attack, but once he's on the way, then quite naturally, he's just going to run the daylight.
NFL legends will tell you they played hard. Walter Payton made them feel like they weren't playing hard enough. He ran with violence and grace in the same stride. He blocked like a lineman. He caught like a receiver. He trained in the off-season when nobody was watching on hills that broke other men. And he did all of it with a smile.
You know, I came from as people said, small school that people will kind of scratch their heads about, say, well, they play pretty good football, but if they get into the professional ranks, they might not be able to hold what they're doing. So I had something to prove there. When I came in, I already had something to prove because people, you know, they had doubts in their mind. Then we showed that we could play with anybody. And after that, I had to prove something to myself. I wanted to be the best that I possibly can, not the best that a former Jim Brown was or a former Gale Sayers or guys before me. I don't want to reach their level. I want to reach what my level is. If it's below that or beyond that, that's what I'm shooting for.
I believe that he affected so many people in a positive way, not only through his athletic prowess, but through his generosity for the way he lived his life. He was a compassionate, loving, caring, sharing individual. And I think when you think about that, you got to celebrate a person's life. Yeah, it isn't fair, gang. 45 years on this earth, you should be in the prime of your life. It isn't fair. But I think it warns us all that we're not promised tomorrow.
He was the best blocking back, I can say that unequivocally, that I've ever seen. I can still see the game up in Minnesota that we're losing, and McMahon calls an audible. And as he's going to throw the ball, there's a linebacker coming ready to kill him. And all of a sudden, Walter steps up and levels the guy. He wanted to contribute in every way he could. Heck, he wanted to kick. We wouldn't let him kick. We thought he was a great kicker.
I think the thing that has to impress you if you're a coach is the fact that he blocks. It's as good as anybody I've ever seen, you know, at that position. I mean it. He really blocks well. And you would think a guy who gets all the acclaim he does for running with the football and has gained all the yardage he has running, he would take a shortcut when it came to blocking, but he doesn't. He blocks well. He catches the ball very well, too.
On that day, that particular day, so many different emotions just came to the surface. Even losing Payton in the process, knowing that he was not going to be there was an emotional moment for me because I had met him like in 92, 93 in Dallas at a Doak Walker Award. And for the first time, and I got a chance to, you know, some people go ask for an autograph and pictures and stuff. I got that, but I wanted to know that I needed some insight. I needed to know what it was going to take and how I had to work in order to get it. So I asked all kinds of questions. I wanted him to break down his workout regimen, his recovery regimen, his eating habits, his sleeping patterns. I wanted to know everything. And he just downloaded to me. Just downloaded it free. And from that point forth, I knew I was on a serious mission.
When we played them my rookie year, and you know, hearing about Walter Payton, and you know, I was, you know, and you a rookie, you kind of got your own little arrogant thing going. So I mean, I stood on the sidelines to watch him play. I stood up. I said, I'm gonna stand and watch him, but I want to see him really run the football. And I saw him knock out one of our defensive backs. They brought him to the sidelines, and he didn't know his name. I just thought that was the funniest thing that I had ever seen because they were the same size.
Had a chance to meet Walter Payton for the very first time. Saw him after practice one day, getting in his car, and I'm going, man, he drives his own car.
John Madden, you know, he had some great stories about, you know, when Walter wanted to have him on the fishing show and found out the only reason was Walter wanted to take him out in the middle of the lake and throw him in. That was pretty funny. And Walter's brother was great, you know, how he always got mistaken for Walter and took full advantage of that when he could. So it was a great service. I mean, there were some you know, fantastic stories and great speakers, and it was a beautiful way to remember Walter.
What I admired about Walter was his competitive spirit. Every time I saw him play, whether it was the first play or if it was the first run or if it was the 30th run, it was always the same speed, the same effort, the same determination. I mean, it was a guy that he was just determined to be the best.
God gave him a phenomenal body. He was a gifted young man. He takes care of himself and he comes back with tremendous pride. So usually when Walter's hurt, he's not going to want to come out of a game. He's not going to want to miss practice and that kind of thing. Very few guys are like that kind of determination. So with a little luck, you then will have the longevity, and that's what he's done.
I think Walter Payton was the greatest football player that ever lived. I think when you think of everything that a football player has to be, he was that. And, you know, a running back that has to run and throw and catch and block and tackle. And, you know, he did all those things better than anyone else has ever done them. I'm going to suggest to Commissioner Tagliabue that they make up a book and a video and kind of to be like Walter and give it to every player when they come in the league. You know, how to act like a pro, how to play like a pro, how to act off the field like a pro, when you retire, how to give to a community and be part of a community, and everything that he did. I would like to see the league do that and give it forever to every player that ever comes into the league.
When I first heard of it, I was shocked because here I am, I'm like, well, I got this hip thing going, and he has something that makes my hip look like, oh, I just broke a nail. It's just hard to imagine talking about the Chicago Bears and not speaking of them and Walter in the same sentence.
Well, a man of uncommon valor. Incredible. I don't think it's been adequately expressed of how great he really was, Jim, and what it really took to ascend to that level. I mean, a guy that inhaled, exhaled rarefied air. Incredible man on top of that. He took out time for me early in my career when I was with the Raiders. He gave me a Commitment to Excellence Award, which the irony of that, he was the guy who epitomized commitment and excellence. And later, after I broke his touchdown record, Walter said some very glowing things about me. He took out the time to do that. He was accessible. He was a wonderful person. He was a beautiful irony. He played this game at such a high level, and he was artistry in a very violent game. And he was David, who was playing against Goliaths. And in the end, he turned out to be the giant, the guy who I think was bigger than everybody on the field.
You know, I call Walter a second and third effort football player, running back. You know, because, you know, you hit him, if you don't wrap him up, well, he's gonna break it. And he just had that desire to keep going all the time. And as Ricky said, it wasn't the fastest, wasn't the quickest, but you know, if you didn't hit him, he can go.
I had gotten a chance to know Walter, and I had a chance to really sit down and talk to a living legend and ask all of the pertinent questions that you want to ask of an individual that have gone places where you're trying to go. And we just had a candid conversation, and finally I said, who do you think will break your record? He says, there's two guys that I believe that have a chance to break my record. Barry Sanders is one, and you are the other one. I looked him square dead in his eyes. I said, I don't know what Barry wants, but I want your record. And he said, go get it. That was that. And when he passed, I think part of me passed along with him, but the sense of responsibility, a greater responsibility came upon me. All I ever wanted to do was to not only break the record, but to make him proud in the process, because I never forget these words. Whoever break this record, they're gonna bust their heart trying to get there. And I understand what it means.
I think the motivation and the attitude that he had, and you know, the drive that came from inside of Walter Payton to be the best and to be great, and then the same type of drive to deal with people and bring people together and help people who were not, you know, quite as well off as he was. And I said to his wife that his legacy is going to be that for decades to come, people are going to be remembering Walter Payton's qualities and trying to imitate them.
Walter Payton played 13 seasons. He missed one game, not because he was never hurt, because he refused to let pain be a reason. That is not football, that is character. And when his career was over, when the yards were counted and the records were set and the rings were won, what the legends remembered was not the numbers, it was the man behind them. Sweetness was not a highlight reel, sweetness was a standard. And 30 years later, nobody has fully reached it. Subscribe. More legends, more stories, more standard.